Sarah Show.
All right, welcome back. Every Monday at this time, we help you to prepare for when the lights go out, long term. Stefan Verstappen is our emergency preparedness expert, the author of The Art of Urban Survival. Stefan, welcome back. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I had a great weekend, Richard. It was bittersweet. It was sweet because on Sunday our community had a potluck dinner. And so we had, 50 people show up. They brought their families. Their kids were playing around outside in the sunshine. It was beautiful. And we made stone soup.
Stone soup? What is stone soup?
Well, it's a parable. It's an old folk tale about a poor man wandering the countryside, and he stops by a village, and everybody in the village says, we have no food. We're suffering. We're starving. And he said, that's okay. I can make us all a big pot of soup. It's called stone soup, and I have a stone here. Anyways, the story goes on a little bit longer. I'm going to narrate it in the video. And it's also the preface to my book, The Complete Guide to Forming Communities.
All right. Stone soup sounds yummy. Honey, is this gravel done? I don't know. It's a little hard. I cooked it for 20 minutes.
It's actually a great story. It's common to China and Western Europe. Anyways, so we had a great time at the potluck dinner. Of course, my pasta salad supremo was completely sold out.
All right. Well done. Well, now let me ask you, as a survivalist, as a prepper, were those noodles handmade? Homemade?
No, I had to get gluten-free. Everybody's goddamn gluten-free these days. So. And I don't like the gluten-free noodles. I prefer the regular pasta. But anyways, but the bitter part was that the one of our members, the one that I told you about, he had lost his son a few weeks ago. Healthy young man, 28 years old, died in his sleep, right? And so it's painful to look at him. You can see him holding back the tears all the time.
Oh, dear.
And we asked him, so did you ever find out what happened, what the cause of death was? And he said, yeah. Finally, after a month, they got a hold of the coroner, and he asked the coroner what the cause of death was. That's me. And the coroner said, I can't tell you. And the father said, the father said, you mean you're not allowed to tell me because you're not allowed to tell me? And he says, yes. So that's all you need to know. So you got to understand that people are dropping dead, and the doctors and the coroners, they know what's going on, but they are being pressured by our government not to tell you why people are dying. There you go.
Well, these excess mortality, I don't want to belabor the point, and we want to get around to our subject du jour, but these excess mortality rates around the world, these statistics are cause for major concern, and it should be leading us to ask more and more and more questions, not fewer and fewer, and yet we all want to, there's a big pink elephant in the room, and someone says, hey, there's a pink elephant in the room, and the media says, no, ignore him. Yeah. But we know what that pink elephant is.
Yes, we do.
All right, so, I was asking you on email today, what are we going to talk about? And you wrote back and you said, well, with rising crime and the WROL on the horizon, what can Canadians do to protect themselves? And I wrote back and I said, WROL, what is that? It sounds like the call letters of a top 40 radio station. WROL. So what is WROL?
Well, it's one of several acronyms that are used in the prepper community, such as Teotihuacan. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Okay, so Teotihuacan means the end of the world as we know it.
Okay.
And WROL means without rule of law.
That makes sense. How to protect yourself when the absence of the rule of law is on the horizon. Okay, yes. That makes sense.
And I would argue that we now live without rule of law. You see, because the government, and especially Emperor Castro, is above the law. All right? Executive orders are not legal. He issues executive orders that instantly transform tens, if not hundreds of thousands of law-abiding Canadians into felons overnight. That's it. And he issues mandates and lockdowns and passports that have destroyed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of businesses ruin people. All of this without passing a law, without discussing this in Parliament. This is Emperor Castro's just issued an order, an executive order, which is what they used to call an imperial decree. We're supposed to be a democracy. You can't just make up laws on the spot without debate, without challenge, without bringing it to the people.
But when you talk about the rule of law, I was assuming you were talking about, the absence of a police force. When civil disorder breaks down, we don't have an active police force. So, for example, we're seeing out in California now, they basically will not respond to, a smash and grab type of robbery. And we've seen the videos on social media where, a mob of people will just storm into a convenience store, push the owner aside, smash cabinets, just take whatever they want and leave. That, to me, is an absence of the rule of law. So you want to talk about how we can protect ourselves in the eventuality that visits upon our fair land here. We'll do that on the other side. Stefan Verstappen, emergency preparedness expert, author of The Art of Urban Survival, ChinaStrategies.com, and FormingCommunities.com. Back with more in a moment. Stay with us.
Back to the conversation on The Richard Syrett Show. News Talk, Saga 960 AM.
And we're back with Stefan Verstappen, emergency preparedness expert, author of The Art of Urban Survival, ChinaStrategies.com, FormingCommunities.com. So we're talking about the breakdown in civility and civil order, and even perhaps an inability of police forces to respond should we see some kind of a crime wave, or WROL as you call it, without rule of law. So let's get into that. How do we protect ourselves?
Well, you're not allowed to, Richard. This is Canada. You're not allowed to defend yourself. It's insane. The laws, and I've been doing a deep dive all week on this, trying to figure out the Canadian laws about the surrounding self-defense, and basically you're not allowed to defend yourself. So, for example, we spoke a couple of weeks ago about members of my community that formed a buying group to purchase a couple of dozen stun guns.
Which are prohibited weapons. You can't own those legally, my understanding.
That's correct, but there was a mistake in the actual term. Now, a taser is one that shoots out those darts that will, deliver an electrical charge. Yes, they're illegal. You can't buy them in Canada. Stun guns are, again, illegal in Canada, and these are like handheld devices that will cause an electrical discharge between the two prongs. And again, they're illegal. But what they bought was the equivalent of a stun gun, but it was at the end of a flashlight. And so long as it is more than 480 millimeters long, it's legal in Canada. So because this now falls under the category of cattle prod. So all the tasers and the stun guns, they're illegal in Canada, but a cattle prod is not illegal in Canada. So if it's at the end of like a baton and you've got the prongs there and it emits an electrical charge, that's okay. However, again, with Canadian laws, this is all insane. So you're allowed to buy them. You're allowed to own them.
You're not allowed to use them for that intended purpose, I would imagine.
Exactly. You're not allowed to carry them, and you're not allowed to use them. And if you use them, they then become a prohibited weapon, and you're going to face the same charges as if you imported an illegal submachine gun and carried that around. It's the same in the eyes of the Canadian law. So, again, we can't carry a weapon to defend ourselves. We're not allowed to defend ourselves, well, within certain reasons. But listen, what we're facing is a rise in crime. But as society declines, we're going to be facing a rise of madness. People are losing it. They go nuts. Look at what happened in Saskatchewan. What was it, 28 people stabbed?
18 injured, not including the two perps, and 10 dead plus the two perps eventually died. So 10 murdered, 10 innocents murdered, 18 or 19 injured.
Yeah, and where were the police to prevent that?
Oh, they're 45 minutes away. They don't have a local unit, which to me is unconscionable. That these poor people were defenseless.
And I live in a rural area, and there's a lot of isolated farmhouses. Now, if somebody were to break into those farmhouses, the nearest cop is a 40-minute drive away, and they are not allowed to defend themselves. Okay, so listen. Canadian rules and laws are ridiculous. It's designed to strip citizens of power and rights, and it's designed to put all the power in the hands of government. So what can you do then? Okay, listen, it's going to get more and more dangerous. First of all, I recommend traveling in twos. So if the wife is going to go to the grocery store, make sure somebody goes with her, because we've seen this in the U.S. and it's coming here, and that is criminals will wait around the grocery store. They'll see a woman with a whole lot of groceries bringing out to the car. They'll follow the woman home and then do a home invasion when she gets there. So you got to travel in twos now. But okay, there's one still slight hope. There is a weapon that I recommend that's perfectly legal, and you can carry it, and it's very effective. Can you guess what that weapon is, Richard? I know you can.
No, I can't. I can't think of a weapon. How about a large eggplant that you could beat the perpetrator?
I'm pretty sure that's illegal in Canada too.
Only the seedless variety. No, yes. Seriously. What is the weapon?
It's a cane.
A cane. Ah, yes.
Yes. Now, I've taught martial arts for 40 years, and I do sword and spear and double swords and double sticks and eskrima and all that. I'll be honest with you. And when I taught, I had a student who was blind, and I taught her self-defense, and I taught her self-defense using a cane. And even a blind woman can become very effective with just a little bit of training, very effective at using a cane for self-defense. Now, here's why it works. First of all, you can carry it everywhere. You're not going to get arrested. If I get one of those telescopic batons, now you can buy them at certain outlets and stores. If I carry one, it's the same as me carrying a submachine gun in the eyes of the Canadian law. So if I were to carry one, God forbid I should pull it out and use it to defend myself, I'm risking 2 years of court cases, tens if not hundreds of thousands of lawyers' fees to prevent me from going to jail. But a cane is not like that. You can carry that, and it's not considered a weapon. Now, here's the other thing. A cane is often better than a concealed carry pistol. Like in the United States, they're allowed to carry a pistol. And the reason for that is that when you get mugged on the street, it's usually an ambush. It's by surprise. They suddenly come out of the shadows. They run up to you from behind. They run up to you from front, and they hit you. And by the time you can reach into your, belt and pull out a pistol and take off the safety and rack around, and they're all over you anyways. But the cane, because you have it in your hand already, that is a big game changer. And like I said, it takes just a little bit of training, and that cane can become lethal and deadly. And you won't be charged with a felony in Canada, because you can say, listen, I was walking my dog, my knee is a little bit sore, so I brought my cane with me, and then I was attacked, and then I used the cane that I had in my hand to defend myself. Now they can't charge you. Anything else, a taser or cattle prod or bear spray or
an eggplant.
Or an eggplant, you carry that around and you defend yourself, you're going to jail. So as things get worse, I recommend get a nice cane. Get a solid maple or hickory.
If the Oral-B IO electric toothbrush had a theme song, this would be it.
I think you're gonna wanna see this.
Oh, you're gonna wanna see it, all right. Only IO technology combines Oral-B's dentist-inspired round brush head with gentle micro vibrations for a clean that'll
make you say wow.
Exactly. Get the wow of a professional clean feel every day with the Oral-B IO.
You're gonna see what everybody's talking about.
Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
And it's got to be at least a 1-inch diameter, 1 1/4 inch diameter. Good, solid, heavy cane. And now you can carry that everywhere. And it's very effective as a self-defense weapon.
There you go. Stefan Verstappen, emergency preparedness expert, author of The Art of Urban Survival, ChinaStrategies.com, FormingCommunities.com. Stefan, you have a great rest of the week. We'll talk again next Monday.
Thank you, Richard. You take care.
All right.